this is one of the topics that I've been looking forward to because it's what we're going to talk about. Like, what do we do in this situation? There's so many times in life that, just like the book Essentialism says, we could either plan our lives or somebody or something else will. So we can plan our lives, somebody else or something else will for us. That happens all the time. We allow things to impact us in a way that it starts to plan our life for us. This is a moment where it feels overwhelming that this effect on the world right now, this global thing that we're going through, it can definitely start to break through some of that armor that we're wearing and make our lives or make decisions for our lives if we allow it to. Or we get to look in the mirror and say, who do I want to be today? And sure, there's all kinds of things that I talk about regularly. Imposter syndrome. I'm not enough. Today's the day they find out that I'm not smart enough. I'm not this enough, whatever it is. But it is, at that moment, we get to make a decision on whether or not we're going to show up and be who we were made to be, respond to these things with vision and with the strengths that we know we have in us, or allow it to just kind of come through and put us in kind of a funk where, fear can come in. But for me, it gets to like sit shotgun, or it needs to sit in the back. I'm still going to drive this car. I am afraid of some things. And there's times where I'm overwhelmed and need to have a good cry. I cry in the shower for whatever reason. My wife and I, when we went through everything we went through in 2010, the shower was my place. It was like the kids weren't in there. I was afraid to cry in front of my wife for a long time. It was like I just got to let it out. And even thinking about it makes me want to cry a little bit because things are crazy right now. But I'm excited to have Julie Paisley on here because she's been a friend of mine for a long time. I love her heart for the industry, for people in general. She is the sweetest, and she just has a vast of knowledge that we get to kind of peek into her mind. So today we are going to chat about, is it time to push through this, to pause, to pivot? What is it that we are to do with our business in these times where it's like, I can't breathe right now. We still get to stop, take a breath, be grateful for that breath, and say, like, this is what I think I want to do with my business. So Julie, thank you so much for being on. It is wonderful seeing your face. I wish we were in person doing this, but that is not the case right now, and that is okay. So thank you so much for being on. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, the history, where you're from, where you're currently at, what life's like for you?
Okay. Well, hi, everybody. I'm Julie Paisley, if you don't know, and I have been in the business since 2009. So couple things a little different about me is that I actually started my business later in life. So I was an educator before. I actually taught kindergarten and music and drama. So I was a teacher. And I just was given a camera and just picked it up and started taking pictures just for fun. And we now see where that is. So I never intended to be a photographer. I tell people that all the time. They always are like, well, why did you decide photography? I was like, it found me. I didn't decide it. And another thing is that, it just wasn't on my radar at all. And I think that that's kind of cool. Plus I started later. I was 37 years old when I started my business. And now I'll be 50.
Just this year you started your business. Wow.
No, I'll be 50 next year, dude.
Wow. You do not look 50. I need to know your secrets.
Next year, next June.
Wow.
By the way, we're having a really big party at Disney World and everybody's invited, okay? So you all got to come. Got to order the T-shirts and all that.
Yes.
Julie's bash at Disney. We're doing it. We are doing it. It's happening. But yeah, so that's why I'm kind of where I'm at right now in my business is that it's time for me to make big pivots. I've been making a pivot now for about 2 years. And it's time because I never wanted to be the 50-year-old wedding photographer. I mean, when your brides are going, oh my gosh, look, my mom is younger than you. You're just like, thanks.
And they cry in the corner.
Yeah. So people, they joke about being hit on by the groomsmen at weddings. No, mine's like dads, grandpas, the ones that are hitting on me. So anyway, it's just time. It's just time to move on and educate, which is funny because I've gone full circle. I was an educator. In my heart, I'm an educator. And that was my calling. And now I'm able to do that. So my children are grown. I have a 21-year-old daughter. She is autistic, and so she's always with us, and she's a joy, and we love her so much. And when we have an 18-year-old son, which we thought we would never, ever have, and he is in his first year of college right now, which sadly, he and Matt had to go back. They're here. He goes to college here in Tennessee. It's about 2.5 hours away from us, and they had to go back and get all of his stuff because classes are done for the rest of the year. So he was here on spring break, and now he can't go back. So he's not very happy at the moment. But, you know, we're doing what's best. I've been married to my husband for 26 years. We run the business together. He doesn't really he's not helps me behind the business. Like, he doesn't help me shoot. He doesn't really do those things. He's mostly my support. Plus, you know, it's really big for him to be, because I travel so much, I need him home with Mary Kate and things like that. And so we work together. He actually quit his job 2 years into starting my business because I had gotten so busy and was traveling all over. So mostly what I do these days is mostly education. So I've cut back to where I used to do 30, 40 weddings a year. That was my thing. I did it for many, many, many years. And I started reducing my weddings. This year, I actually only have 5 weddings. So, thank you. Someone just said I looked amazing for 50.
Yes, I know it is. 49 and a quarter. Yeah.
But anyway, so my life now is pretty much, I still travel a lot. I do a lot of destination sessions. So people are traveling to Paris or Italy or whatever, and they hire me to come and do anniversary sessions for them, vow renewals. And honestly, I love that because that's where I'm at in my life right now. You know, my husband and I have been married 26 years. So I feel very passionate about anniversary sessions and things like that.
Cool.
I have had the opportunity to shoot celebrities, which is really cool. But, you know, all of those things have just kind of brought me to where I am now, where education that's my thing. That's where I love building community, pouring into other people.
Yeah.
So, awesome. I guess that's kind of about me.
Yeah, I love it. And I've got to experience that. And she does have a wonderful community. There is... it's hybrid so it's film and digital. You know, if you're doing one and or the other, it's a cool community. I got to meet your husband hybrid ago. So a while ago down in Nashville, and he is a total sweetheart as well. And you are both a gift to our community. And I'm just grateful that I met you even way before that. But I do love your community, and it is fun to be a part of those types of things for sure. Thank you for what you do for us. I really appreciate it. We do need people showing up and pouring into us, you know, so I love it. So what's life look like right now for you? What has changed?
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, I'm not traveling. So it's so funny when people were getting on here and they were just oh my gosh, I've lost my income. I can't do this. I can't. Oh, no. Nobody is allowed to complain, because right now, first of all, I have 3 whammies against me. First of all, my husband does not work an outside job. We do this together. So yay. No income for us. Okay. Fortunately, we're set up, so we're okay. Second, I'm a destination photographer. All of my work involves traveling, and I can't do that right now. So that's a problem. And third, 70% of my income comes from other photographers, and they're not spending money right now. So it's just no, nobody complain. So we've had to really just sit down and just evaluate. And I will tell you, this kind of goes into the first, if you don't mind, I'll kind of go into the first thing is whether you should push, towards things in your business. We had to sit down and evaluate, because at first, I'm not going to lie, it changes. I think every week it changes, you feel this is what we're going to do and this is how we're going to go. And then next week something else happens and you're just okay, can't do that. Can't continue on in that. And so, I think that I had to really sit down, and at first it was just I just want to give, pour into people and not charge anything. And then we started seeing where, hey, this isn't just going to be a month, it's going to be 2 months, 3 months. And then I'm I need to evaluate that a little bit, because there are still people who want to learn, and there are still people who have the situation to where photography is kind of just like their extra money. You know, their husband has a job and he's still working and everything. So they have money and now they have time to invest in their business. So while my services might not be good for everybody, I do believe that there are people out there that can still learn from me. And so like we had to sit down and decide like, okay, what are we going to push? What are we going to do? And so we evaluated ourselves and we found that we don't need to come from a spirit of selling. We need to come from a spirit of serving. So you're not selling if you're actually giving people tools so that they can help their business. So when we all come back for this, they're better prepared for that. So that's kind of where
it's a great way to just change that word, you know, because there's things where, like, for me, when people say balance, I'm like, no such thing in my mind, because I only picture it as one thing. It's like a scale, right? And I can't have a balanced life. I live on the road as well. And I also have like a family that I believe is thriving, in a marriage that's thriving. It's still not balanced. I just feel like I have order. So I just changed it to order. So for the longest time, I mean, I've been a photographer forever as well. I'm no young puppy either, but I shot my first wedding with a friend at the end of 1999. That's a long time ago. Dude. And then I shot weddings for 15.
Like 16 years old.
Yeah, I was 8 years old when I did that first wedding, and no, it was with a friend, you know, Mike Cologne, and we were off to the races after that. And I did it for 15 years, and then I started Kiss, you know, before the end of my last wedding that I did. But I educated through a lot of that because I've had success with albums. I own an album company now, but I had success with it, and so I'm like, this is how to sell albums. This is how you can sell to your clients. It's just not a word that creatives love, is sell. And so most people don't like to be sold to, but a lot of creatives specifically don't feel like good salespeople. And so we just switched it like almost 2 years ago now. Instead of like, if you could sell a book to every one of your clients, what if you could serve every one of your clients with an album? Like, it truly is, you're serving, you know? And we charge to educate, right? Like, it's okay to like show up and make money for your services or for education or for albums. But truly, I believe like it is. I love serving people. If there was no such thing as money, or if money was not a part of this, I still love that feeling. I posted maybe today, I was just thinking about, I haven't been on stage in a while. I have one more flight in my Delta app, and as you were saying, I wrote it down, added into my to-do list, like I need that today, but I have to cancel one more flight, and it was to Cabo. I was grateful to be able to go to Cabo. Now I won't, you know, it'll just be postponed, but truly I love standing on stage. And it's not about standing on stage for me. It's about when I see the words impact somebody's life.
Yes.
And the lights come on. They choose at that moment. It's an amazing feeling, you know, and then they come up afterwards and we talk through it. And I'm like, they're going to go change their life. They're going to go change their business. They're going to go impact this world. And we need them to, you know, it's one of my favorite things. I miss that. I'm trying to do that via this type of thing, and I'll show up however I need to, but it really is a service. And I just want to tell you, Julie, like, thank you for serving the way that you do, you know, and we're going to have to get creative during these times. And I feel like things will be different, but that is what we're talking about today. What do we do during these different times ultimately, you know? So you've had quite the run, and you've been, you know, I believe entrepreneurship is a roller coaster without COVID-19, right? Then it's like, I didn't even know this loop existed. Like, where did that one come from? I've never seen anybody post this loop on social media. I've never heard of this. Is this in some dark cave that nobody has access to? Because this thing felt like a rogue wave. What in the world? Who added this feature to this roller coaster? So that's where we're at today, right?
Absolutely. And I just think too, it's just like, I think that the biggest thing, if you know, like, you know, for me, we kind of had to evaluate, just like I was sharing, we don't have another job. Now we have several streams of income coming in from different things, but we cannot, I mean, we could just live off of savings, but the thing is that we need to retire, you know, sooner than later than most people. And so it's like, we don't want to do that. So that's why we decided, like, okay, we actually need to push forward on some of our things. And I think about for other photographers, you know, different ways that they could push forward is, first of all, you have to sit down and you have to write down the needs of the people that you serve.
Mm.
So where are their struggles right now? What are they going through? Like, I was immediately just like jotting some things down when I was just talking, going over this in my head. And it's like, okay, you think about if you're a portrait photographer, some of the things that you could start creating a need for now is like coming back with summer mini sessions. Maybe you never do mini sessions, but hey, here's a time where you can do that. People are going to want to get out of their house. They're going to want to photograph their families together. They're going to remember this time, and that's something you can concentrate on. I think about wedding photographers. Why not take all of your brides and put them in a Facebook group together where they can meet other brides and talk about what they're going through, plus you're there to serve them. You can answer questions and you can give them ideas for their weddings. And, there's just so many different ways that you can do this if you just you have to find other ways to focus on. So sit down, figure out who your client is and know their needs, and then push forward with that, meeting their needs, not just selling them endless things that they don't need.
So powerful. I mean, just taking the time to sit down, right?
Yeah.
Like, I was on live yesterday and there was a gal that was like, my husband has the quiet office. I'm in like this open area and I got kids and this and that. And I was like, sister, make a request and say, hey, can I have your office tomorrow? Yes. For an hour? I don't care what it is, but to sit down and think about those people that you serve. And it could be the people right in front of you as well, right? Like, what are the needs of my partner? What are the needs of my kids right now? But also, like, I have a business. Yes. What am I going to do now? Push, pause, pivot. What am I going to do? If I'm going to push, what are the needs of my clients? It's a powerful thing. Write that down. Jot that as a note to like, hey, what does that look like? I mean, I think normally we need to do that. What are the needs of my clients? Somebody just said like, thank you for sharing today. I will say this has been a great time for selling and designing wedding albums. Lots of kiss orders this week. I've seen that a ton, right? Because how many weddings? There's 1.5 million weddings a year in the US alone that are photographed for under $2,000. That, to me, they better not have an album. Meaning, like, if you charge $2,000, you should not give them an album. Now, there's tons of things that I educate on and how to do that and all those things. But like, there's a lot of people that need you to go back to them and say like, hey, I photographed your wedding. Let's say I photographed 30 weddings in the last 3, 4, 5 years and didn't do albums. That's totally fine. What are their needs? A lot of them, other statistics show they don't have wedding albums. I'm not going to make this a wedding album thing, but just it's an example that they mention. It's like, you can go back and what are their needs? They have time. Everyone's a little bit afraid of spending money right now, but there's going to be an influx of cash coming in with all these like PPP and all these like things that we just talked about earlier today. We're going to get back to some normal. Why not serve those past clients in the way that you want to serve your future clients right now,
Even in prints, think about like if you're a portrait photographer,
yeah,
you need to be making some displays for them. Like tell them contact them and say, hey, do you have a space in your house that you want to fill? Send me a picture of that and then put that in a little layout for them and send it to them. Because
that's right.
The thing is, most of the clients, because a lot of people are like, oh my God, nobody's spending money, nobody da-da-da. Well, we're thinking about photographers. Yes, I do feel like a lot of photographers have definitely put a little pause on it, but everybody else is still spending money. I mean, do you see the sales that are coming through? Like every day, Anthro's got something on sale and Madewell and all these things. Yeah. Like everybody's pushing selling because there are people that are still spending money.
Yeah. There is people still spending money. I'm still spending money. There's a lot of people spending money. It is like, is it ever going to run out? Right. Am I spending savings? Do I know it when the next paycheck's coming in or whatever? I totally get it, but not everybody. And so it's a numbers game, on how we serve. If when we sell to people, I know that's scary, but in the way of serving them, it's a numbers game, And so get your whatever fundy or whatever you're using to create wall art. And people have a hard time, most people, even creative sometimes, have a hard time seeing something that doesn't exist, right? And so I was just talking to a friend that's like moving and they were looking at houses and they just repainted their house because some people walk in and they're like, I can't buy this house because it has this brown wall. I can never own a house with a brown wall. Literally, some people cannot picture anything different, subconsciously or consciously, right? So just go make some, yeah, exactly. Paint the thing white, whatever. But make wall displays for them with their couch in there and show that to them. If you have some time to do that, there's so many ways that we can serve our clients. Someone just said like, hey, Christy, how are you doing that? So we can help educate on that on another one. But yeah, absolutely. There's so much opportunity right now. At the end of the day, the one thing so many of us want more of is time. Mm-hmm. It feels like we don't have time sometimes. I'm busy. I know you're busy, Julie. Everyone's busy in a different way, but sometimes it's like, all I have is time. Turn off Tiger King. And
I have not gotten into that yet. I'm really nervous. I don't think I want to watch that.
It's hard to watch. It did make me feel a little bit better about myself. And I needed to just have some whatever noise on, and that's exactly what it is. But I'm like, it wasn't good. It was just so bad that it was funny, and it's sad. I do not like when animals get treated that way and humans end up in that place, whatever, I'm not going to get super judgy, but it is just turn it off for now. And what do you want to do for your business? Who do you want to be? We still need you to be in business on the other side of this. Your clients need you, not me. It would be wonderful. We're going to keep showing up for the industry. But we need you. You have a purpose more than just putting your head in the sand. And so I want to call you up. I don't want to call you out. I want to call you up to who you were meant to be. And so does Julie. I know that's her heart. That is why she's here right now. There are things that we can do to pivot, to push, or, there's times where we pause. Yeah. Pausing is a beautiful thing, in silence and reflecting. But I'm going to let you take it back over.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of where we can go next, is this is into that pause. Some people just might need to take a pause right now. Yeah. And I think it's just giving everybody the permission that it's okay. I have some friends that, maybe their husband's in the military or their husband is an essential worker and he's not able to be home. And so literally all of a sudden they are single parenting, running a business and homeschooling 4 kids.
Yeah.
And you know what? It might be their time to just pause a little bit on the business and concentrating on their family. And it's not a bad thing. It's just we all have different things that we're going to do. And that's what we're talking about. Some of us need to push. We need to push forward. We need to meet the needs and go forward. Some people may just need to pause. Mm-hmm. And it is okay if you need to pause. Okay. Because I have noticed this, you and I were kind of talking about this, I can catch myself going into what they call compassion fatigue. And it basically is you give so much of yourself, and then all of a sudden you have nothing left. Mm-hmm. And so, just to be quite honest, I was honest with you earlier, I'll share this with everybody else, is that is pretty much what my life has been looking like. I have literally been on Zoom calls. I spend the whole day Zoom calls, Facebook Lives with different people, doing all that, giving, serving. I have a group coaching that, that I've been trying to serve to them and keep them, going through this time. And then last night we sat down, we always, of course, we're having dinner together, and then we sit down and it's just family time. So we play games, we watch movies, we do whatever. And I sat down and I told my husband, I was like, we need to pick a really funny movie tonight. And he was like, are you okay? And I'm like, yeah. I said, but I feel sad. I just feel sad. He's like, well, why do you feel sad? And I'm like, I don't know. I just feel sad. And I think it's okay for us to feel sad,
It is. I am
mourning what we're going through right now. I think we all need to go through a grieving process about this, because we are grieving. We're grieving a loss of normalcy for most of us, I should have been in Paris all this month. That's where I was supposed to be. I'm grieving that. I'm grieving all those opportunities that I had at the 7 sessions that I had while I was there, the workshop, the meetings with planners and florists that are over there. And I need to have time to mourn those things. I need to have time to mourn that this is my new life and this is my new normal. And so I think that, I know a lot of us are just pushing, keep doing this and keep getting your business. And I do think that you can't just completely go dark. You can't do that, but I think maybe you say, well, I only work, on these, I work Tuesday, Thursdays. The rest of the days I don't work. Or maybe for me, for instance, Saturdays and Sundays, I go dark. So that's where I am not working. I am not, if I'm on Instagram, it's just for fun. It's not related. And I just take a break. And like tomorrow, this is what I'm planning to do tomorrow. I am literally staying in bed all day and I'm going to read. I'm just going to read all day.
Yeah.
Take little breaks. But I think that we have to do that. During this time, we have to pause. It's okay to say no. It's okay to be a little selfish.
That's right.
You know? And so,
Yeah.
feel all the feelings.
Yeah. Julie, I want to let you know that, like, I want you to pause too. Like, we need you to be healthy. Yes. And I'm in the same shoes as you in so many ways. I was a total asshole to my family today. And sorry for the language. It's just who I was. And it's like we lost our dog on Tuesday, and I wasn't super close to her, but I saw my family go through pain, and I just don't like that. I want to fix it. That's not what's needed. We needed to mourn. And I've been living right here, and this is normally where I live and stuff like that when I am home, but there's like a lot of loss there. Like, you were supposed to be in Paris and photograph and build into relationships, which I know you absolutely love, with florists. And like, I'm sure there was like, you would be living your best life right now, you know? And it's just different, right? It's different. And we need you to pause, you know? And we need you to like take care of yourself this weekend, because we need you to show back up, but only when you have something to give. You will always have something to give. It's just from what place, you know? And I need to do the same thing so that I can be who I need to be, like, for my family. What I wrote on my to-be list today, it's right here in front of me. I try and keep it in front of me, is a light and influential, right? Not a lot of stuff on here. My gratitude was for 3 people that are doing the finances for my business right now. And one's my CPA, and 2 of them are internal. There's not a lot of family stuff on here, you know? I have a list because it's Friday, and on Fridays we clean the house together. And so I have a list of things that I've been trying to get to as well, but I'm down there cleaning, like barking at them, you know? And they're like, Dad, are you okay? You know? And I'm like, maybe I'm not. Like, we need to pause. I think, like, if you take something from this, it's like, it's okay to pause.
Yes, it is.
We need you to be back at some point. It's pause. It's not stop.
No.
It's like you may feel like you fell down. Take a minute, like, to catch your breath and to dust yourself off, so that when you come back, you're rested and recharged. It is a gift. Sleep is an amazing thing. There's a difference between sleeping at the end of the day and crashing at the end of the day. And I've been sleeping. I'm grateful to be getting to sleep. But tonight, if I don't be careful, I'm going to crash. And that's not what's needed, because I'm going into the weekend as well. And I try and take right now, there's like, you know, people typically shoot weddings on weekends and stuff. And there's some mourning to happen from that. We need to mourn the loss of those things. But we also need to be there for the clients that didn't get to get married. How can we show up for them? I love the idea of creating a group and all that type of stuff. There's powerful stuff, because we're in the business of relationships. We always are, you know? How can you pour into those? But if you're not a good version of yourself, or becoming a better version of yourself, what is it that you're offering them? You know, it's a gift to pause. It's a gift to rest. It's a gift to recharge, and it's different. I want to make sure you're clear. I do not want you to crash. I want you to rest. And it's different. Pause. Reflect, get quiet, watch something that just makes you laugh, because that's what we need to do sometimes, you know?
Yes, I agree. And I think that is something that I have had to really learn over the last few years in my business, is that because I didn't do that for so many years. You know, I would just push myself to the point of crashing. And then I'm a very good mix between when I'm not in a good place in my life, I'm a number 3. When I am in a good place, I'm a number 2, but they're very, very close together. And so one of the things that number 3s do when they get into stressful type situations is they completely shut down.
Yep.
They can't just pause. They shut down completely, and they push everybody out of it. And that is not good. And I just remember all of the years where I would literally, by the time I would get to like October, November, I was done. I didn't want to talk to another person. I didn't want to do anything. I didn't want to go anywhere. And that's not like me. I'm a people person. I love people. The more I'm around people, the happier I am. And it was just like, I did that for so many years because I thought that we had to do it. Like we were called to give, and do all that. And no, we're not. We're called to pause. There are times in our life where we need to pause. And maybe this time is your time to pause. All of us. And that's what I'm saying. I know days, and I've actually decided to, because I'll be honest, the last 2 weeks has literally been all day long on calls and teaching and pouring. And it's still too much. And so I'm going to limit it from here on out. Like there's only a couple of days where I will agree to go live with somebody or teach or do something, because I can't do it every single day. Like I just can't. For myself. And I know that this is probably going to be happening for the next 2 months. And so I just have to really take care of myself. Plus I need time to work on my business too.
Yep.
You know?
Yep. Now is the time for so many things, but like still taking care of ourselves hard. I'm not on my normal routine, but I am on a routine. I still have a morning routine. I don't get up at 5:30 in the morning anymore. I get up at 7:30 or 8, depending on what time my day starts, because usually it's like my first kid gets up at 6:45. So I want a full hour before to do my morning routine, and so that I'm good for them. And I still want that. And I still do that. It's just not as, rigid as those other ones. But I think it's needed. We need routines, and it doesn't feel like anybody can have a routine right now, but it's totally doable.
Oh, you can.
But rest.
Yes, you can totally do it.
Absolutely.
Like
it's getting to a point where it's like we can't use it as an excuse anymore. Like, hey, we need to settle in a little bit. Like, hey, if I don't stop eating the way I'm eating, I'm going to be 500 pounds or whatever it is. I've seen all these complaints, and it's like, I get it. I totally get it. Do not be a victim to this. It's happening to us, but it can also happen for us. And that we can show up still. I just want to encourage you through that. Not shame you, just encourage you through
it. Get dressed. Like, okay, for me, and I've been very open about my uniform. So I put on a nice top, blouse, sweater, whatever, and yoga pants. I totally wear yoga pants, but I still dress up. I still put makeup on, I still wash and fix my hair. I do that as my morning routine. I get up, I have my quiet time, and then I get dressed. And that's what I do every single day. Another thing is that I only work from one place, which my son is home. So he's in my office because we downsized to build our dream home. Now that's not going to happen until probably next year, but it's okay. So we're in a much smaller place right now, and I don't have a separate office because he needs it as a bedroom. But you know what? I bought myself a little corner desk in my bedroom, and that's where I work, and that's where my computer stays. It does not come in my bed. It does not go downstairs. It doesn't do that. I only work when I'm sitting here. And at 5 o'clock, it closes and I'm done.
That's good. Having those routines is powerful. And there's little things. Getting dressed is a big deal. Like there's so many people that joke right now and they're figuring out how to be home. I read the book Remote years ago, and they built Basecamp. They're a really great company, but they were teaching kind of how to be remote. And one of the people was like, I have 2 sets of slippers. He loved being in slippers. One was his work slippers, and one was his I'm at home slippers. And like I have this set of stairs that comes into my office, and it's like when I come in here, I'm here to work, and then when I leave, I need to turn it off. Again, we talked about this, but not on the air. When I fly, it's easy because I have a routine for flying, right? When I get on my last plane home, it's typically from Atlanta to Indiana. It's about an hour and 10-minute flight or so. When I step on board, I cannot work anymore. Made a kind of a pact with my family, with my wife. Like, it's it. I can listen to a book. It cannot be a business book. I cannot answer or open emails. I can watch shows. I don't watch much TV anymore, but if I do, it can't be like, I'm going to go watch, a business mastermind or something like that. It's like, I gotta, and I stick to that. And a lot of times I listen to music because most of the time when I have AirPods in or a headset on, I'm listening to books, or I'm on here or doing something like that. I'm doing business, right? I started to miss music, and I played music up until 3 years ago. Like, I played music since I was a little kid, and I like didn't mourn the loss of it. And all of a sudden I'm like, I miss music so bad, And I was like, I need to start just listening to music. I don't need to like oust it out of my life, but I just need to, again, like learn who I am and what I need for my family. But having those little routines, like even just doing I didn't do my hair today. I threw a hat on because I needed to like get my head straight. I knew I was going like I met with a CPA today and my banker, and I had my CPA on here. I was like, this is gonna be a tough day at work. Like that bores me to death a lot of times, but we need to know the information, And so I was like, I went for I did my Peloton and I went for a 3-mile walk afterwards with my dog. And I was like, it's what I needed. So I'm going to throw a darn hat on because I got to clean on my off time. And it's just, what do you need for today? Do you need a pair of work slippers, or do you need to like get dressed and do your hair? Do you feel good going to work in pajamas? After a while, you won't. You're not going to be getting the stuff done that you can just by changing your outfit. It's interesting what the mind does with little routines like that.
I totally agree. So it's awesome. Yeah, I love I love what we've been talking about is like, of course, like pushing through things and pausing. And then I guess kind of our last little thing we were talking about is like pivot. Like some people might realize that now's the time that they want to change. They want to change their business.
Yeah.
And for me, just personally, this kind of happened for me. I had some things that I've been making like a slow pivot for many years now. And I just decided during this time that I was just going to go forward with it. So I'm making a huge pivot in my business right now where I'm going towards more education than, shooting and things like that. I have found over the years that what I really love to do, I love educating. So I create courses, for all the little things that I educate. People can go to resources, they can buy that. But my one-on-one time with people is I love helping people pivot. So if they have an idea, I like helping them get it all together, build a system and go into that. And the thing is, I've noticed this with just think about other people, not necessarily in this industry. So think about, I have seen like dress companies, they have gone to making masks because that's the need right now. And I have seen Marigold and Gray, that do the gift boxes. So normally they do gift boxes for conferences. There's no conferences going on. So they're making like vitamin C boxes and pick me up boxes and, really concentrating on those things. And so I think that for our business, right now it's just like for me, I wouldn't push I have a course that talks about like booking without fear. So it's really like business and booking, how to book more weddings and how to do. I'm not going to push that course right now. But what I could push is that I have a film course. People have time, they can learn film, So I think that it's kind of an exciting time because you kind of think about like, okay, again, it's just like the push, finding the needs that people need and then pivoting your business towards that. So, I think, what are some ways that you guys have figured out, like, how to pivot? Because right now you can't print your albums and things like that. What are some things you guys are doing?
Yeah, so it's great. And the concept of a pivot is you can pivot and you can continue to head in that direction. There's no doubt about it. But there's also like a pivot where it's like I pivot for a season and then I pivot back, right?
Yes,
that's the point of a pivot, right? So currently we are coming into slow season on top of this, and so I've been like, how do I need to pivot to make sure that the families, we have like 30 employees. I've had to downsize some and to go into like, I've had more spreadsheets come across my desk than I ever like, but I also know I need to. And so I know I need that energy. And somebody just said, I've been taking I haven't been taking care of myself and relaxing. I've kind of been on information consumption overload and just trying to fix and improve things. But it is so vital to take care of ourselves. And this makes me realize that, right? And so like the reason I have Cabo on the calendar that is now being changed is because I know that the first quarter of the photo industry's world is like WPP, all the, like so many of the shows. And it's like, it's wonderful and exhilarating, and I love people, and it's exhausting as well. Those two are fine together, Oh, yeah. But I put Cabo in April every year because it's like I need to just go and be with my wife and be in a pool and just like actually rest. It is so vital, and so now I can't do that, and I gotta fight for it. I know I need rest. I'm tired right now. I need rest. I'm getting sleep. but I'm coming to the point where it maybe crash. So how we're pivoting with KISS is like, we're showing up like this as much as we can. We were doing that anyway, but not this much, you know, and it's time to like, yesterday I got to speak on Evolve's platform, and that was like, I got to talk about just like, hey, how are you taking care of yourself? Do you have routines? And I've started to create like tools on how to like, this is how I journal and why. And I have a to-do list and a to-be list and a gratitude. And my today's mantra is, I keep it right in front of me because I need to be reminded, problems are part of life, but they are not life. Pain is temporary. And so it's like, I need reminded of that because there's all these problems and it's part of life, but it doesn't have to be like, it doesn't get to define what my life is. I still get to respond how I want to. And so I've pivoted in ways that it's like, I need to show up for the warehouse, and they need support in ways that it's like, hey, what are we going to do? And if we don't work, do we get paid? You know, and all those types of things, you know, so spending a lot of time looking at all the acts and stuff like that. We have a team doing that, and then I have to make the decisions on how we do that. And we've come to the realization of like, yeah, we're going to have a slow season, and that's okay. But I'm kind of mourning the loss of like, we were growing, you know, like at a good rate. And that's okay that we're not right now, because we've prepped and done our due diligence so that we will be on the other side. What we've started to realize is like, there's going to be less book companies on the other side. And so we're not only going to we're probably going to have a busy season, because like April, May, June weddings are going to get pushed back. Wedding Wire just put some things out, some statistics out that are really good on this. So a lot of weddings towards the end of the year. A lot of them are going to move to 2021, but our busy season is probably going to be really busy, our busy season, which is like October, November, December. So we are pivoting like, okay, can we get the inventory that we need? Can we ramp up for a busy season and, you know, keep capital in-house because we don't know how long this is going to go, as well as how can we show up for photographers? Education matters. So we launched a mastermind for 10 photographers and how you can show up for your past clients. And it's going to be a 4-week thing. I'm finalizing the numbers today, and there's tons and tons of applicants, you know, and so work just looks different. So we're working on pivoting in ways that I love serving. And I feel like as long as we're serving people, there will always be enough work to do. And serving is just looking different right now. So I'm like showing up.
That's me. You know, it's like I had to sit down and evaluate, you know, of course, like I said, we have the courses out there and we have group coaching and things like that. And I found like I was supposed to start second quarter of my group coaching. So basically it's a quarter, you know, everybody, you can sign up for 4 quarters, 3, you know, whatever you can sign up for. So we were about to launch quarter number 2. Well, I realized, you know, it's 3 months, they pay monthly. A lot of them were really struggling. You know, it's like the people that I were group coaching and stuff like that. And thanks guys, all of you taking my film course. You guys,
2 of them posted back to back right after you said that.
Awesome.
That's like amazing.
Another one, yay. And so, but anyway, so I realized that I think what's best for me to do right now, instead of pushing like my group coaching that lasts for several months, or pushing, you know, like certain courses, is that I'm going to do a boot camp on people who want to pivot into education. Because I think a lot of people have been thinking about that, but didn't know how to do it or do it the right way, or don't even know like how to get those ideas to find out, you know, because when I go through this with people, like I literally sit down with them and figure out what is their genius, you know, because there's too much education out there. It's out there. And if it's just general and broad, you're going to have a hard time selling it. But if you can go in, you know, because niches make riches, right? And so you want to niche down. And I feel like that's one of my superpowers, is that I can really pull that out of people and figure that out. And so I'm doing a boot camp. I'm starting a boot camp, not next week, but the next week. And it's an 8-week boot camp to help you come up with your ideas and your plan to make your pivot. So that's what we have to do. I wasn't planning on doing that. I had no plans on even starting to talk about like the pivoting part of my business that I was going to go into. That was going to be next year. Also to podcasts. Like I have a podcast that we're actually, as soon as we launch the boot camp, we're going to start working on the podcast. I wasn't planning on doing that this soon. That was going to be next year. But you know, that's what you got to do. And so I think a lot of people out there that are feeling that way. And so we have to figure out, okay, what is going to work best during this time? Because quite frankly, I may not be able to travel again to where all of my sessions are, which are mostly international. I may not get over there until really late in the year now. So now I have all these months that were going to be very busy for me in Europe. They're not happening. So I need to do something else with my business.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just different, pivot so that you can be here and pivot back into what you want to do. And there's so much, there's a lot of information out there. There's no doubt about it. Like you said, somebody even said that, there's so much, I'm consuming so much,
Right.
But it's vital to take care of ourselves. I wanted to speak to that in a way that it was like, there was one year that I read like 40 some odd books, right? And I was like flexing that I read 40 books. You know what? Then last year I read like 10 books, and I actually implemented the things because I had to reread them. There were a lot of the same books that I read, and I was just doing it to like say I read that many books. Like, what a total like pride ego thing running my life. It's like, who cares? And it's because I read something that said like, the average CEO reads, whatever, and I was like, well, first, I hate, every time I see it now, I think like, it says the average CEO. Like, I want to be way better than average. So I think they need to change that. But it's also like, you know what, we can consume all day long. There's a time for us to take care of ourselves, and there's a time for us to like implement the education that we have as well. And there's certain books I will read every year because I learned something new from it. I need to be reminded of it, whatever it is. But there is a lot of stuff to be consumed out there. But what's right for you? What's the right amount for you? What is it that you have now that you have consumed that you want to pour into other people, and your version of it as well? And niching down, like getting down to where it's like, I believe in specialists as well. So what's your specialty? What's your purpose? Like my wife says, what's the gift of you? Like if you texted your friends, your group of friends, and said like, hey, if I got, something happened to me and I couldn't use my arms or legs anymore, what would the gift of me be? What is left from me? And it just does, it starts to show us like, hey, this is who you are. Here's a mirror, and your purpose in my life, the gift of you in my life is this. Like for you, I know, Julie, you're a gift that you specialize in things. You have this heart of gold that wants to pour into people. You love well, and it shows. That is the gift of Julie. She shows up. The smile on your face is why people can't believe you're going to be turning 50. It's like there's a light in all of us, and yours shines bright and allows us to be like, oh, thank you. Like I got to stand in the sun today. I went out and just stood on my driveway, and the sun was out. The sun's not always out in Indiana. And I just stood there and I was like, I'm so grateful for the sun and the warmth and the light. That is like you in so many people's lives, Julie. Like your light shines in, and that is a gift that you have for other people. I'm grateful for that for you. And I know so many other people are. So keep showing up like that. Take care of yourself, sister. We will get back to travel someday, maybe. It'll just look different. I think they're going to take our temperature before we get on the plane for a while.
Totally. I think we're going to be like, fashion masks are going to be the big thing.
Right? Yeah, Gucci and Louis, everybody's going to come out with fashion masks.
That's right. Nobody's going to be buying purses anymore. We're going to be buying masks.
Oh, who are you wearing? And not your purse. Right here.
Oh gosh, so fun. So fun. Yeah. Oh my goodness. It has been such a joy to talk to you today. I love, like, that is one thing that I do love about our community is that we're family. Yep. I love how we're all just like coming together during this time to just be there. And I'm kind of excited to see what this does for our industry, to be honest with you.
Me too.
I don't think it's like nobody's concentrating on the competition and, oh, they're doing what I can't do and all this stuff. I think we're all here now. We're all on level playing ground, because it's like maybe those photographers that you look up to that are traveling the world doing all this, they're not doing that right now. They're sitting at home just like you. And so it's kind of cool thing to like see us all on the same plateau right now. And then, there's going to be, unfortunately, those that do this, and then there's going to be those that do that. And I want to be, and I know you want to be, the ones that want to go up.
That's right.
So
we get to rebuild after this, I look at it as two ways. It's like there's a wildfire, right? And a wildfire in the forest is actually a needed thing, because it kind of like gets rid of a lot of the low hanging weeds and things that don't allow the sun to get to this soil, right? And during that, as it burns, it cultivates the soil for new growth. Wow. There's going to be new growth after this wildfire. We're just in it and it's super hot. We don't know how to respond, but are we this like giant tree that needs it so that my roots can get refreshed and like cultivate the soil so that I can be strong again and see new growth around me? Like, it's a beautiful thing, but we're going to lose some during this time. And I think it's those that weren't willing to grow, those that like are afraid and allowing fear to drive their car versus like letting it sit in the car. And you know what? Like, I hope that they rebuild as well. I think this is either happening to us or happening for us. I've heard that a lot lately. And it does not feel like it's happening for us if you look at the news. And I'm not opposed to looking at the news. It's just I can't spend all day on the news.
Oh, I can't.
And I need the information just so I know how to respond, and that's it.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I know right now that I'm just supposed to stay home. you know, that's what I would need to concentrate on, because every time that I see the death count and I see the numbers of people that have them, it turns me into a panic and like, oh my gosh, what if I get this? Because I'm at risk. I have a lot of breathing issues. My lungs are very weak. And so I'm terrified. I'm literally terrified. I'd be one of those ones that would be like really, really sick from this. And so I can't concentrate on that, because when I see those numbers, then I'm just like, oh my gosh, that's going to be me.
It's scary. Right. It's scary.
You can't concentrate on that. And so I don't allow myself to see that,
Yeah, my sister-in-law moved in right before this happened. She wants to like get on her feet, and we kind of in this like healing house from my brother, who on his own, got sober here from like some gnarly things. And so she wanted to move and like just like start to like move towards that real world. But she has asthma and she has like fibromyalgia and all this stuff. Like, if she gets sick, we would be absolutely like terrified for her life. Now, a healthy person, like super healthy person, can still have issues. Things can go south, but ones with like respiratory things, from what I understand it, it's like it could be bad. And so it's like, stay home. But it's like, what are we going to do with this time while we're home? And I'm just grateful for the concepts that you presented. When I read it, I was like, ooh, that's good. It's like, am I going to pause? Am I going to push? Or am I going to pivot? Even just today, right? Mm-hmm. You can do all three of those things in a week. You can push on Mondays. You can pivot and think about what your pivot looks like on a Wednesday. And on Friday, you can just know, hey, the weekend's coming. I'm going to pause because I need to pause. And if you need to like get away from little kids, get away from whatever it is, to pause, fight for that. Go into a closet, shut the door, and cry your eyes out. It is okay. Like, say, you know what? I need a nap, and I'd like to make a request that I get a nap. I will be a better person on the other side of this nap, or other side of this bath, or other side of this walk with a headset in, and you're not invited to go on this walk with me. And that is okay. I want to make a request. It's okay to make requests, right? And so there is a lot of like realization in where we're at today. And we get to just like sit and just think about it. And in our heads, our brain typically wants to keep us alive. That's its main objective. But we can also train it to understand.
Hey, we lost you.
Flowing, and all of a sudden, like, hey, you're something went down. So we get to, in this moment, realize that when we are reflecting, our mind's trying to keep us alive, but we can also train our mind the difference between an actual threat on us. Unhealthy mind cannot tell the difference between somebody offending us and the news and a bear attacking us. An unhealthy mind cannot tell the difference. Right. All it's saying is like, fear, flight, freeze, fight. There's so many things that our brain wants to do to just try and keep us alive. But it's like, if we can start to be like, is it really a threat? And who do I want to be today?
and I have purpose in my life. And we can start to train our mind to say, like, you know what? The news is not a threat. It's just trying to inform us. It has an agenda, whatever. It's whatever. I'm not going to talk politics or any of that junk. It has an agenda. I need to get the information so I know what to do for my business, for my family today, for myself today, for my marriage today, for my whatever today, right? Like, we need some information, but it doesn't need to be life threatening. It can be life threatening, but very, very few things are as life threatening as a mind like mine works. I have this emergency thinking mind, and it was unhealthy for a long time. I'm trying to get healthy, but I'm like, emergency. This is a bit of an emergency, and it feels bigger than a lot of other things, and that's okay. But it's also like, okay, do I have top ramen in my pantry and water in my house? And it's very few things that we actually need to be okay today.
That's right.
And what else do I need? I need connection. I need to know that I'm loved. I need to love other people. And we have access to that. We have access to connection. Even if we're alone, we can remember the time that we were connected. We can be connected to those people, But I think I need Netflix, and I think I need the internet, and I think I need a strong internet connection. And I think I need a specific type of food, and there's comfort that I move towards as well. But when it comes down to it, there's a long way to go from actually what I actually need today, and then the wants start piling in. And really, like, I am so grateful that we have all this like comfort and all these things. Like, I get to see your face today and pour into people. I love that. But we're really, really far. A lot of us are really far from like the actual fear that is being induced inside of us, And just recognize it, at least recognize it, and then be like, what do I need today? Is it a pause? Is it a pause? And that's okay. Yes. Maybe you need to pause. Maybe it's something new.
Permission.
Yeah, absolutely. Please take a pause if you need to pause. Turn this off. Press pause right now and go rest.
Yes.
Do you need to pivot? Is something new, does it give you life? Is it not going to overwhelm you and you want to pivot? And think about, just dream up what a pivot looks like. And then think, maybe I will pivot after this. Maybe I won't go back to that full-time job and I'll do this. Or maybe I will ask if I could work remote, more days than not, because I'm making it work and I'm going to show up and earn this remote position going forward. What does your pivot look like? Yeah. Or do you need to push? Do you have something to offer? And you're going to push. I'm going to start to push the fact that I want to serve my past clients with prints or with albums or with education, or my photography community with information. And I'm actually a numbers guy. I'm not, but I'm just saying a scenario. I'm a numbers guy. And so I'm going to study this CARE Act and I'm going to tell all my creative friends about this. I'm just going to serve in that way. And that's how I'm going to push. Like, you get a choice, right?
I agree. I love it.
Thank you so much for offering us those 3 things. They're beautiful. They are like, it's just different. It's like, I hadn't thought about what a pivot looks like, and I've been pivoting, but I'm just like, I'm doing it, but it's like, it's so good to hang a word on it. Like, today I'm going to pivot, and just having the power of that knows like, hey, this is a pivot for a season because I want to be back to this. I want to pivot and do online education. And hopefully I get to pivot back and get on a plane and go pivot and be in person if that allows me in the future, And but for now,
it's not
I get to still show up.
I think a lot of people sometimes get a negative thing about pivoting. Like, they'll see photographers that were heavy wedding photographers, and now all of a sudden they're educating. They're like, can they not book anymore? No, the opposite is true. Typically, like, if I went to go back to weddings tomorrow, I could fill my calendar up, but I don't feel like that's where I'm supposed to be in my life right now. Yeah. And so I think too, it's just giving permission. Maybe you decide through this that you really don't want to be a wedding photographer, but you want to be a brand photographer, or maybe you want to go into commercial photography or go back to families. That could be that, and it's not. It's just not a bad thing. It doesn't mean you failed something.
It is permission.
So,
yeah. Well, where can we find you? For those that don't know you, where can we find you?
Mostly where I hang out is my Instagram, which is @Julie Paisley right now. That's where you can probably find. Of course, I have a website and all of that, but all that info is on my Instagram. So Instagram is where I really talk to people. I'm very open. I'm very honest. I share everything on there pretty much. So I'm pushing everybody towards my Instagram right now.
Yep.
And that's where I'm also like, if you are interested in like, my Pivot Bootcamp and stuff, all of that will be pushed onto there. So that's really the best place to come find. Come follow me and become my friend.
Yeah, it's fun because there's pretty pictures of Paris. There's going to be less of them for a season.
Yeah.
But there's beautiful ones from the past. It is one of my like bucket lists to be like in Europe when you are, and I get to be photographed in Paris with me and my wife. I know we need to make that happen.
Make that happen.
We need to. We have a direct flight out of Indy now straight to Paris, which is a beautiful thing. If we get back to that, I hope they don't take that one away. But thank you so much for being on here. This has been a treat for me, a great way to end my week and my day. You are like just a beautiful light in our industry, and I'm so grateful for you. Thank you so much for being on here. I appreciate it. And let us know if you have any questions about some of her info. We can link to it and get you the information that's needed. But what a gift she was, right? Let's all thank her and just give her some love. Really appreciate her time. And it's been an absolute treat just pouring into this community with you. Thanks for being a part.
Oh, you're so very welcome. Thanks, guys, for listening.
Have a great night. Bye-bye.
Bye.